Hey everyone, Zeddy here again today with a brand new video. Hey, just a friendly reminder, about 63% of you guys that watch the videos still have yet to subscribe, and if you believe I've earned your sub, I would really appreciate it. We're pushing really close to 10,000 subs, and I'd love to get there sooner than later. Got some really special stuff planned, so if you hit that sub button, appreciate it. But again, back to the video. Enough of the shilling, enough of the selling out. Thank you. And I wanted to do a discussion video today about a topic that was quite popular on Twitter that pretty much triggered me. You know, I can get upset, I can get angry, but I'm like, this is a little too far. So there was a tweet longer made by Frozen earlier in the day talking about his feeling about Hearthstone, and talked a lot about how the randomness and all the hierarchy and all of that has really been a downside for him in the game. It's really made it so competitive Hearthstone hasn't felt great. It was another GM basically speaking up about the state of the game, not being thrilled about it. And it was more on lines about, the RNG. A lot of it was about that. So I was like, I like the tweet. I'm like, yeah, I mean, I feel you. We talk about it all the time on the channel, all that. And then Monsanto followed this up with a tweet that just kind of set me off. So Monsanto's tweet, and before I get into it, if you don't know who Monsanto is, he is a grandmaster on the NA region, a very strong player, very good player. I've faced him a lot, and he's a good dude, all that stuff, but I have a very different opinion than him on this issue, and let's take a look at his tweet. And it says, unpopular opinion. This meta is the most skill-rewarding meta in a very long time, but it rewards a different set of skills than what we've been used to the last couple of years. It results in different people are having success, and that's okay. I'm glad I lost so many matches in Grandmasters, so I could tweet that without it looking like a brag. So, yeah, he's basically making the argument that this is one of the most skill-rewarding metas we have seen, and as a result, it's skill testing in a different way than before. So the players that are thriving normally before, because they had to utilize skill for different metas that weren't based around what we're doing, aren't doing as well as today, and that's the excuse as to why people are doing better today than they haven't before in this skill-rewarding meta. Delay also followed this up. If you don't know Delay, you're probably familiar with him, Grandmaster as well, big-time Twitch streamer, YouTuber, all of that. He tweeted as well as his take basically on this issue. I think that's what it was about. And he says, I love the whole creative buy thing. I believe is the most fun, most balanced, healthiest metagame Hearthstone has ever experienced. I can play a wide variety of decks, make a lot of decisions that matter, experience incredibly different games. And maybe I should clarify this with my sincere thoughts. I've been saying as much on stream for weeks now. I really don't have a problem with losing to random stuff in Hearthstone. I signed up for it by playing the game. If I wanted to play playing chess, I would be. So I think the first tweet was a little bit more of a little bit of sarcasm. I don't know if he really believes that this is the healthiest metagame ever. But again, he does say that, the randomness is all fine. I think we could take this second tweet as more of the serious one, but I wanted to do an analysis of why I disagree wholeheartedly with Monsanto's original tweet, and why I'm in agreement with Zelay about randomness in Hearthstone. I'm not in agreement with the level of randomness we're seeing. So what am I talking about? What is my problem? So Monsanto says the game is skill rewarding, and then he says it's very skill testing. I think he's true on one of these things. I do think that the game is very skill testing at the moment. You give the tempo mage, the small mage, spell mage deck to literally any bronze 10 noob, somebody who hasn't played the game much, they're gonna get destroyed. They're going to get utterly destroyed. They're not going to know how to utilize Apprentice very well. They're not going to know what the best picks are for random spells from Magic Trick and all these different discovery options in the specific matchups. And they're not going to know when to use certain generated spells in certain matchups, what they should save things for. So for instance, say you play Wand Thief and you're against a Demon Hunter, you're against Soul Fragment Demon Hunter, and you have the option of Pyroblast, a Puzzle Box, or Deep Freeze, and the new player might be oh, I'll take the box, it's random and crazy, I'll win. And then they get smoked because they pick the 10-mana card rather than taking the Deep Freeze that can lock out the Demon Hunter from attacking, create a board that they can't deal with, and can be really strong, right? There are decisions that can be made that are very impactful based on random creations and all that stuff. And that's relevant. That's skill testing for sure. I don't think Discover in itself is brain dead in any way. There's definite skill options. Like knowing what the best pick is and when to save it, when to use it, can be a big deal. Whether it's a random dragon, a random spell, damage minion, whatever. The problem I have is the other side of the equation is your opponent. First, they have no idea what any of these random cards are you're getting. None of them. So that takes a lot of the skill out of the game from your opponent's perspective. They can't realistically play around every mage spell in the game. They can't play around every dragon in the game. They can't play around every spell damage minion in the game. So that takes the skill out of their hands to an extent. And then you have the cards like Solarian Prime, Puzzle Box, things like that just cast the most random things, period. It can cast such a wide range of spells that you can't play around that. So again, it's not skill testing in any way to play those cards either. To play a Prime, to play a Puzzle Box, you are literally just slamming a card that's going to do a bunch of random crap and hope for the best. And believe it or not, a lot of games are decided by Puzzle Box, by Solarian Prime, by Evocation, which can give you countless mage spells. Like, Evocation can fill your hand with, especially with Apprentice on board, with more than 9 spells. Like, it gives you 9 spells in your hand, or 10 if you play Apprentice and Evocation on empty hand, but it can give you Magic Trick, it can give you Studies, it can give you Font of Power, it can give you all sorts of crazy stuff, which can create more stuff, which can create more stuff. Like, you can trick into other stuff. Like, the chain never ends. And yes, it's skill testing to know what to pick, what the best picks are, but your opponent has literally no idea what you're doing, and that takes all the skill testing and all the skill rewarding in particular out of their hands. It's completely gone. And for me, that's the wrong type of random, when you can chain random into random into random into random, and you're doing it all the time to the point where nobody really knows what's going on anymore. Who knows what started in their deck, and an opponent can't play around anything. The skill is gone in terms of like the counterplay aspect, and counterplay aspect of Hearthstone is already limited. So when you take it even further out by just making it so you can literally play around nothing, where you just kind of, well, you play your cards and hope for the best, that's taking a ton of skill out of the game. So my issue with the created by is, yeah, the infinite chaining, and then cards that literally just cast a dozen or half a dozen random spells for no reason, like Puzzle Box, Amazing Reno, Solarian Prime, cards like that. It's just ridiculous. It just takes the game to a point where you realistically can't play around anything, and you're just like, when I'm playing Soul Fragment Demon Hunter, I'm just going face and hoping for the best. And I wanted to highlight a game. I'm gonna mute this game, and I wanna go through this game where I faced a mage, and I made what I believe to be basically the correct play every game. I thought, my skill was tested. I set up a perfect lethal for the end of the game, and it was taken away. And was it taken away through any skill testing play? Anything skill rewarded? Well, watch the game and find out. And let me know in the comments below, what do you feel about this whole, is this meta skill testing? Is the game in a healthy state? Because personally, with the cards that Mage in particular, and then Rogue and Priest generate en masse, on random, that you can't play around, it just takes so much skill out of the game that I feel like skill has never been rewarded less than it is now, because you just get robbed by so much. But yes, skill test, definitely there. The game is definitely not easy to pick up, not easy to play at the highest level. But when you're at that highest level and you're facing the highest level, I mean, it just really comes down to who has the better random, in my opinion. So let me know in the comments below. Check out the game. I'll do some commentary. I won't have any audio going. I was playing some music, but I want to just go over what kind of frustrates me. All right, so this is the game. This I want to highlight. I'm playing against a mage. I'm playing Soul Fragment Demon Hunter. I'm salty. I'm mad. Always mad. But anyways, we're at a game plan. We're gonna game plan for our mage. We know that the strategy is to burn them out, to kill them, because you typically can either outvalue them, they're going to random you, and you can see chats going random, all that, because I'm saying it's time for random. So, we have our 1-drops, all that stuff, nothing too exciting. We play out our curve, all that usual shenanigans. But when it comes down to the turn, I really want to demonstrate that it's frustrating. And I even say this while I'm playing. Like, I want to wear him down, I want to keep his board clear, all that stuff. But I get to a point in the game, it's turn 6, we're at this point where the board is becoming, do we keep fighting for it? We're going to keep fighting for it, right? I keep fighting for the board. I'm developing, but I know I'm getting to the point where this game is going to get out of my reach, and I need to finish my opponent off. I have right now in hand, I have 4 from my weapon, another 4 from Twin Slice. That's already going to get him down pretty good, and if I get Skull and hit it into some damage, I might be able to just go for that finishing blow. And now, when I'm factoring in this kind of stuff, and I'm thinking about what plays I'm going to make, I'm figuring, you know, well, my opponent, he doesn't run healing, he doesn't run taunts, he doesn't run freezes or anything like that. I can realistically try and, you know, out-skill my opponent by going face, by, you know, managing his board early, and now I'm getting to the point where the board's becoming unwinnable. I make a decision. I'm going to start punching face. I have my skull. I have my skull ready to try and find burn. I could still fight for the board, and I'm thinking about it. Do I kill this prime? Do I kill the firebrand? No, I'm realizing he's going to go down below 20. I'm likely going to draw burn, and he's going to have to outrace me, and the only thing he can beat me with is random stuff. And I know right now in hand he is a 1-mana spell, Wand Maker. He has a 1-mana spell, and that's it. And I know the only card he could get from that could possibly counter me is either Mirror Image or Magic Trick into something like Frostbolt, Barrier, Counterspell. So I'm kind of factoring that in a little bit. And I see that he hasn't really played it, so I figure it's none of that. And then, you know, he's developed a big board here. He's developed a giant board, and I'm like, okay, I knew this game was getting out of hand. I knew I wasn't going to get the board back, so we need to draw into burn, and boom, there we go. Game plan executed perfectly. I have drawn into exact lethal range. My opponent, he doesn't run freeze, he doesn't run taunt, none of this stuff. I'm going to push all the damage I can this turn. So I'm going to, I realize I have 4 damage here. If I hero power, that's 5. But I'm likely going to double Twin Slice here. So I can play the weapon, I can play Lapidary, I can play Gladebound, and kill my opponent, and put myself out of reach. I could do other plays, I could play Lapidary, I'm not entirely sure which one I play, it's just important to be mana efficient. But I'm setting up this lethal, that's what this whole game plan was. I stopped fighting for board because I know I'm going to lose control, and I know it's my opponent's deck, and all that stuff. And then it's like, okay, I've won the game. He doesn't have he doesn't have a freeze, he doesn't have Barry, he doesn't have taunt. But you can tell by my face, I'm not looking too thrilled. I'm not looking too happy, because I know what's probably going to happen. And that is, every decision I've made to set up this lethal, to set up everything, is going to be negated by something I can't play around, something completely random. And here it comes. My opponent is going to play a prime. My opponent doesn't have a skill decision in this play. It's literally play the prime and pray, right? And what can I do as the opponent to counter this? Nothing. It's literally taken out of your hand. So I have made the correct play every single part of this game. And now my opponent, after deliberating, is just going to play a prime. And he gets, you know, I get some random stuff, but he gets a random deep freeze. That's okay. I'm alright, but he clears my board. And then he randomly freezes my face, locking me out. No longer can I attack. No longer can I win the game. It's over. Every decision I made that game was correct, and I lost. And did I lose because my opponent was rewarded from his skill? Rewarded from his skill testing play? No. He won because he played a prime, which cast a bunch of random stuff. And that's the frustration I have. That's the frustration I think a lot of us have, is that your play isn't rewarded. It's just, does the random scam you or not? And this is, Mage is the biggest guilty party in this problem, but I mean, Rogue does it as well. They can get Mage spells, they can get, you know, other class legendaries, all sorts of crazy random stuff, and Priest generates like 20, 40 cards a game as well. And it all comes down to that. You can't play around it. You can play your game plan hoping you don't get scammed, but you get scammed, you lose, and there's nothing you could have done about that. And that's my main argument. So again, hopefully you guys understand where I'm coming from and how a game like that illustrates it. And again, if you enjoyed the video, please like and subscribe. Have a great day. Stay salty, my friends.